Yeah. Yeah, what are the most dangerous seed oils? What are the seed oils I need? Top 10 seed oils to look out for. You won't
Like
believe number
canola,
6.
peanut, sesame, rapeseed oil,
Linseed oil, sure.
oil.
Yeah.
What are the most typical things you would find those in though? Like, because I don't just eat seed
any
oils,
process.
you know,
Yeah. Well, I mean, some people have a bottle of canola they have on their counter.
Sure.
A lot of restaurants fry stuff in seed oils.
Well, okay. I've actually been noticing because my work carries all these little Hostess donuts and Hostess ding dongs and products
Read
like
the
that.
ingredients. You will be horrified.
Well, that's the thing. When I was a kid, I used to love those things because you'd eat them and they'd taste delicious, and then you'd wash them down with a glass of water or milk or something, and they'd go down easy. But now you eat them, and I drink a glass of water afterwards, and there's this waxy residue left across my entire like tongue and gums.
I don't know if that's a seed oils. That might just be the fact that those food items are like several ingredients away from plastic.
Sure.
You know, that's the thing. Cause like there's these like right wing bodybuilder guys on Twitter who are like, seed oils are bad. You should drink 5 raw eggs every single day and spend 9 hours at the gym. And what it really is like seed oils are in like Pop-Tarts, fucking macaroni and cheese. They're in like all the shitty processed foods. And the reason that people are feeling like shit is not just the seed oils. It's because they're in the worst foods you can get. The jury's still out on whether the seed oils are also a culprit. I just haven't seen the data.
What is it about getting really into a subculture like bodybuilding or fitness or like CrossFit or something in that kind of zone that just makes people like immediately start digging into pseudoscience stuff? There's like a whole wing of people that believe like you shouldn't eat any food that's a nightshade. Like you should never eat a potato. You should never eat a tomato. They're bad for you and they'll poison your body. And it's like, I'm
just a susceptibility to that kind of, you know, thought process. I think it just opens you up to all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it's like people start getting into something and they're like, "This is my religion now. This supersedes what I know about the world."
The fanatical devotion that you see to like health crazes and, you know, being incredibly online. It's just like multi-level marketing. It's just like you know, getting really into Game of Thrones or Breaking Bad. It's a substitute for religion. Because like
just like Walter White, man,
we need
and I'm
a hobby,
gluten-free.
You know, yeah, I'm the gluten-free Walter White.
I'm the dairy-free, lactose-free. I'm the synthetic egg Walter White.
Here's what you're gonna do: you're gonna go to your fridge. You're gonna take out every dairy product, every piece of cheese. You're gonna throw it in the trash. And you're gonna fucking Mike Ehrmantraut, dude. He's the only life coach I would ever be willing to.
Oh, that would be such a good show.
If he told me to drink 7 eggs every day, I'd probably do it.
Yeah, but that's just because he's like a persuasive guy, right? It's not that you believe him. It's just
legs.
like, I feel like I should do what he says. Yeah.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys that look like Mike Ehrmantraut, and they're just, you know, alcoholics that hate their wives.
Yeah, they're like dudes where their kids will be like, "Oh, he's just a big teddy bear." But I bet Mike Ehrmantraut's kids are just like, "Don't fuck with him."
Yeah. You know, his kids are dead, right? That's the sad part about the poor guy.
Oh, is it?
The actor or the character on Breaking Bad?
No, I don't know. No, I wouldn't talk shit about Jonathan Banks. I don't know anything about that guy. But did I just spoil the show for anybody? I'm sorry.
Breaking Bad or Better Call Saul? Because I don't really remember Breaking Bad.
I guess technically it would be Better Call Saul.
I haven't watched past the first season. I'm not pissed about the spoiler or anything.
No, we won't bleep it out or anything. I'll just add reverb till it's incomprehensible. So people will be like, "Is there something wrong with my headphones?" Speaking of having something wrong with your headphones, welcome to Beep Beep Lettuce, everybody. You might notice a new voice on the show. We have John and Todd here, but we're also joined by both of our very good friend, Phil Buck, who is from a lot of different things, but most recently from my very favorite new podcast, The Succ. I guess it's not so new now. You've been doing it for a second by this point.
It's weird. It's been a year.
You guys are taking off, right?
Yeah, I mean, I got to give props to y'all. I would never have done a podcast if it wasn't for BB Lettuce inspiration. But yeah, we just hit episode 50, and it's just over a year since we started it. And for any BB Lettuce listeners that have not heard of us, it's really just a show very similar to BB Lettuce. I think we're a little bit hornier than y'all are.
Certainly
a lot of
hornier.
time.
Quite a bit, I would say. I enjoy it. Honest, that's not the kind of show I would put on, but it's the kind of show I like to tune into. You know what I mean?
It's kind of inevitable. Most of our hosts are, they come from the shit posting world, and they often touch on subjects that are very, as we like to say, cum joke adjacent.
Sure.
There's just no way you're not going to get through an hour of talking to each other without a lot of horny posting, if you will. So
yeah, there was actually I was at one of my stops filling up vending machines, and a random dude who worked at this steel rolling facility walks up to me and he's like, "What's on your headphone? What you listening to?" And I'm like, "Oh, these are my friends. They have a podcast called The Succ." And he was like, "Well, I've been needing something to listen to since Cumtown stopped happening." And I was like, "Shit, you might like this show."
boy, have I got the thing for you. Is Cumtown dead? I haven't listened to it in like
I don't know. I've never
time.
listened to Cumtown, but that guy just like blew my mind. I was like, well, if you like Cumtown, I think on name alone, you should probably listen to a show called The Succ.
Chronologically, you're kind of going backwards there, but sometimes
good point.
Sometimes you can get to Cumtown before The Succ. I don't know.
That's how you end up in Cumtown, is through The Succ,
right, yeah.
for sure.
Yeah.
It's funny though, because the whole idea for the show came out of a shit post, a joke where I was just like, what if you had like The View and it was a bunch of shit posters sitting around the table together, just talking about stuff that happened on the internet. Like, my worldview of it was supposed to be a lot closer to the ground. We cover, can't imagine like if you listen to both of our shows that we wouldn't cover at least one of the same stories every week. But I always wanted to talk about, stuff that was happening in, like, what's happening in this Facebook group or what's happening on this little Twitter offshoot. And sometimes we get there. Most of the time we talk about Elon Musk.
Yeah. It's hard. It's really hard not to.
You get into the weeds pretty fast.
Yeah.
But I like the way you get into the weeds pretty quick, and you're willing to stay there for a while, especially if you have an episode with Matt on, and you have a pretty big rotating cast of hosts, which I really enjoy as well. I've often thought like, no, 3 or 4 is the right amount of hosts, but it turns out you can have as many as you want if half of them can't make it half the time.
That's exactly right. And that was, again, as much as I hate to reference the show, I've never watched The View. I don't know anything about it.
Sure.
But I know
I imagine it's just a camera on the side of like a cliff or something.
I've only seen Meghan McCain clips from The View.
Oh, well, that makes sense. Yeah. I mean, I've
seen
not Meghan
McCain.
Pictures
Wait,
of it.
Is it Meghan McCain that's on The View?
I think so.
I thought it was.
Yeah. I always get her mixed up with who's that other political fail daughter of like a Republican guy?
Cheney's daughter? Liz
Liz Cheney. I get
She's
Cheney and
that would be funny.
McCain's daughters mixed up.
I feel like I get Meghan McCain mixed up with Amy Schumer, but go on.
Well, the idea was always to have a rotating cast. I think originally I thought I would have like 8 people and I would make people draw straws or something every week. But it actually turns out that for making a podcast for, very little financial gain, that not everybody makes it from week to week. And so it shakes out pretty good that you can just have 6 people. I think Kim Bertrand has just shown back on the show for the last 2 episodes after, I think, a 3-month absence. So it just, it just works out that people can get in. And for everybody listening, you may know some of my co-hosts because they post and they go viral, but it's weird how that doesn't translate into the podcast world.
No, you
Matt
have to
Moyer.
You have to push it really hard to get like podcast traction off of memes. I know just from personal experience.
Well, y'all are you pulled off the clout pivot somehow successfully. I've always been inspired. That's the only reason I ever considered it. People would always whisper in my ear, you start a podcast. I'm like, no, I don't want to ever do a podcast. And I never anticipated doing a podcast. I always wanted to do a show. Like the Succ was supposed to be a show. I was going to green screen everybody in to a scene together, and it's just impractical. And I'm too ambitious. I have 2 kids, and
you do.
I don't know why I ever thought I could pull that off.
Like you've done multiple shows, like like practically, not even practically, like literally that you could just tune into every time, and just like it was great. And like you have these grand visions and can follow through in such like a like everything is taken care. Like you thought of everything. Like a lot of
I think it's a mental illness, to be honest. Like, I know you're trying to give me props, but I did a show. So the show that led to the Succ was called Late Night with Chi O'Neill,
Love that
which
show.
John was there, and it was great. This is a great time. And I think I did a show, like I had to get my appendix removed one night in an emergency appendectomy.
Yeah.
In the middle of the night, I go to the ER and they're like, no, your appendix is fucked. You got to go to a hospital and have surgery. And like 5 days later, we still put on the show. That's
Holy
not
shit.
healthy. That's not normal behavior, so.
No, but I get it. Like I've spent my entire life like making bad decisions and fucking up my finances and my schedule to do things like take bands on tours that lose money and like, make it onto like guest spots on podcasts that probably don't do anything for actually helping me get stuff out there. But it's all good because like there's like I think for a long time, especially like in the long stretch of COVID, I kind of felt like there was a lack of podcasts coming around or other projects that were like actually kind of good. Like they all just felt like they were rehashing the same thing. And then when I started listening to Succ, I was like, oh, like this isn't changing the format of podcasting or anything, but it's fresh.
It's
and
refreshing,
I think part of what I like about it is that like your show and
a good Succ is refreshing.
It's very refreshing to get sucked. And I think your show and our show both come from a Facebook internet background, which is pretty interesting compared to a lot of shows, which I think you could easily say are more Twitter or Reddit-y. And like, do you think that having that Facebook style background is part of the recipe for success? I also think of like Minion Death Cult, for instance, as a Facebook centric show.
For better or for worse, yeah, I think you're right. We talked about it when we want to do like the live show, because of course I'm still like, we have to do a live show, and everyone else is like, we don't. But I occasionally convince the gang to do a live show, and it's like always very clear that our audience is us on Facebook. Like we stream it out to YouTube and Facebook, and I think even at Twitch at one point. And yeah, it's like it's a different flavor. I think Twitter is always like kind of everything's blasting outward to everyone at all times, where Facebook feels a bit more insular. There's definitely more of these like communities, and I don't know how to sum it up more than that. But
well, like Twitter is like a top-down world-building god game, but it's multiplayer, and Facebook is more like a shooter or a strategy game where it's like, yeah, I can see this room and the two rooms in front of and behind me, but that's kind of all I'm working with right now.
That's a good metaphor. Yeah, I totally agree.
It's like in a real-time strategy game where half of like the majority of the map is blacked out, and you only can see what's there on the map if you send one of your little guys out there.
Right. And like you sometimes get a notification alert on the side of your screen, and it's like, red alert, racism is happening in the comments. The sunset profile pictures have arrived. They're tagging Mark Zuckerberg.
Send in the cavalry. Send in the trebuchet units.
Send in 900 of my most communist friends. Like that's the other fun thing about Facebook is like you can kind of take over a little space for a while. Like it's not just the groups that you have. It's like once in a while, something will get shared around with some insane grandma posting something about like, won't someone date my beautiful son? He's in the Navy, or like, some shit like that. And people will just share it around, and they'll say like comments are open. And that's always just like lighting a fucking powder keg. And I kind of love that energy. You don't see that as much on Twitter, where it's just like, yeah, you can respond to anything pretty close.
It is fun. It's like it's sort of a whimsical type of gang stalking.
Yeah.
I think my favorite posters, because of Facebook, they can do this, are the folks that infiltrate totally, mainstream wholesome groups, and then just shit posts, without anyone else recognizing that that's what they're doing. And they get away with it for sometimes weeks at a time, depending on how much of a tear they're on. Like I've seen it happen so many times with like a classic rock group. Shout out to Jay Hain, Rebecca Egestow, Ida
for sure.
They'll get in these groups, and they, Ida is a genius making up some of these posts that, one of my favorite ones is the infiltrating the Harry Potter groups, and the way that the posts are crafted is he is such a Trojan horse of sneaking in, this woke skull person told me that, Harry Potter is this, and this, and totally gets away with it because they think he's saying that somebody else said this. And it's just, such a joy to see their reactions.
Well, and like carefully inserting language that will reveal the jokey nature of the post to people who are super online, like millennials and Zoomers. But if you're some boomer who logs onto Facebook to talk to their grandkids, it's like you're just not going to understand what half the post means. And the other half of the post calling Zelensky a real life Chris Kyle or a real life Chris Dorner for that matter is just going to be like it's going to like somehow ring true to people who are just logging on to see an American flag and like salute their monitor.
Yeah, it's sort of a Longmont Potion Castle for the digital social media age, which is a type of humor that we sorely need in this world.
Oh, well, God, absolutely.
Speaking of being a shit stirrer in various online domains, you brought an article to our attention, Phil, when we were getting ready for the show, where some kind of NFT expert has floated the idea.
Big Chief.
Big Chief. I love the idea that you can be an NFT expert named Big Chief. It's kind of like if stoner culture didn't have anything in it that got you high.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is incredibly bleak because, so it's NFT expert imagines a hopeful future where poor people serve as real life NPCs in games. Buddy, that's just called having a service job. It's something that I've talked about a lot on the show whenever like the Elon Musk self-driving failures happen, and AI is not going to happen probably within our lifetimes to the degree that science fiction predicts it, where like, a rogue AI learned how to love and it's also in charge of the US nuclear arsenal.
Yeah.
That's not happening. What AI in our lifetime is going to look like is it's not going to be a computer that's driving your Tesla for you. It's going to be like a guy paid 30 cents an hour in like Bangladesh driving it remotely using the same technology that like guys in the Air Force use to drone bomb Syria.
Yeah, well, because AI views us a little bit better than we view ourselves. That's the problem, isn't that our AI isn't good enough. It's that we're not good enough at AI to make the AI we actually want. Yeah. And instead, it just aggregates random things about us and kind of like triangulates, what is the actual intention here. And so we're like, we made an AI and then it's racist. So we're like, we made an AI to scan driver's license. And it's like, yeah, I'm an AI who scans driver's license and I'm super fucking racist. But hey, at least this means that a racist AI isn't going to have to be the NPC in a World of Warcraft gold farm situation,
right.
Which is literally what this guy Big Chief was doing, right? He was running like an internet gold farm.
Yeah, the article gets way worse and reveals that this I think the headline is actually pretty deceiving. I think when you read it, you think that like, some kind of, think tank is actually imagining that, this is an idea that they're going to bring into the gaming space. And if you get into it, this person who calls himself Big Chief, who can go to hell, was literally like, basically employing child labor to like some game called Critters. I've never heard of it, but it utilizes NFTs in a Minecraft-based style of gaming.
Minecraft-based game?
And he had kids in the Philippines doing stuff, collecting materials, and then like paid designers to build the stuff. And he like really thinks he's doing a good thing.
He from the quotes in the article, he definitely has the brainworms of like some small local business owner who's like, I'm just giving high school kids a chance to earn a nickel an hour and buy a phosphate from the soda jerk down the street. Except he's like some guy who's like, yeah, log on to my Minecraft server that has blockchain crypto support for a currency that just tanked from 85 cents to 3 cents over the course of a few months.
This is so funny because like he's just selling blocks like a plot of land on a Minecraft server, which is like, first off, I'm pretty sure it's against the terms of service of Minecraft, so you're just begging for your account to get deleted. But also like it's a public Minecraft server, anybody can just come on that block and build stuff. They can come to your spot and build.
It's kind of like how Scotland, some companies in Scotland will sell you like a cubic foot of land on some Scottish island, and they're like, you can technically call yourself a lord since you own this land. And it's like, okay, but if I drive my boat up to that island and I just walk around and I wipe my ass on every cubic foot of land on the island, who's gonna fucking stop me? You know?
Yeah, you don't have any serfs or vassals or knights or anything. I mean, you're a
You
scrub.
don't even have an army of kids from the Philippines trying to buy NFTs with digital currency that you're paying out. That's the other thing. I don't really understand how this scam works, right? Because he's saying stuff like, with the cheap labor of a developing country, you could use people in the Philippines as NPCs, real life NPCs in your game. And it's like, I can play online video games with people in the Philippines right now. It happens all the time.
Well, he apparently wants them to just do nothing, like nothing of value. He wants them to be real controllers of the, the shopkeeper, somebody fishing. I think it is extremely hilarious because we don't need that in games. Like there's non-player characters for a reason, right? We want to be important in the game. We don't want this person to be able to suddenly go. Well, actually, it might be pretty interesting if they just like freaked out and lost it, and they're like fucking your total game over one day just because they're like, you know what? The blockchain just I don't know what I'm talking about when it comes to NFTs, so I probably said that wrong.
Well, yeah, it's like, what if they got pissed off at the way the player base treated them and they all decided to go on strike? Like,
that's what I'm trying to say.
That would actually be kind of cool, but yes. I think they would immediately get replaced by bots again.
Well, that's what you see already with the fucking McDonald's, where it's like a kiosk, you know. I think that here's my thoughts on like metaverse shit. First off, there's like a million different competing metaverses, and none of them have like even close
PlayStation 2 graphics.
Yeah, no, well, not that, because they all look like shit. None of them have close to like dominant market share, and it's not looking like any of them will emerge as the victor anytime soon. Like the closest we have to an actual metaverse in terms of number of active users is like World of Warcraft, which is not an NFT game and not a Web3 game. It's just a game, right? So I think that the trajectory of this is that we don't understand why anybody would want to live their lives in the metaverse. But if you look at the adoption of mass technology, right? Like we don't, I'm not saying it should happen this way, and I'm not saying I want it to happen this way. In fact, it's very bleak, and I hope that this doesn't happen. But if you look at the adoption of various types of media, like from 1990 to 2010, we went from like 1% of the population using the internet regularly to like 90% of the population using the internet regularly. Same thing happened with television between like 1930 and 1950. Same thing happened with radio between 1910 and 1930. You went from like zero adoption to like huge amounts of adoption. And I think what it's going to take is a generational shift, because like the Zoomers and the generation after Zoomers are being propagandized so hard by like the media and by these companies that want to sell them this virtual life, that they're going to grow up thinking that it's cool, it's fun, and it's worth it to live your entire life in some sort of virtual metaverse where everything is an NFT, everything costs money, and everything is under complete control by a company that defines everything down, everything from like, you know, the look of the world down to like what your interactions are with shopkeepers.
Sure, but like even like Minecraft aside, how are they going to steal the player base from a game like TF2, which came out 15 years ago and still has new users signing up for?
Oh yeah.
Wow. How?
It's just a good game and funny.
I don't think we can comprehend it. It's like how would you explain the internet to somebody in like 1930?
Well,
you
I mean,
know?
like, you know, Meta is trying to like pivot into doing not just their metaverse VR stuff, but they're also trying to like really get the monetization of memes and pages and stuff going. I know, Phil, you have some experience with that firsthand. And what's it been like interacting with the Facebook money machine?
It's extremely suspicious to me. I jumped at the chance as soon as they rolled out several different programs that I've been able to witness and then subsequently talk to a lot of people about it. I first got an offer on Instagram. They started paying for reels.
Okay.
I think at first they wanted you to get something like 2 million views and they'd pay you $1,200. And I tried it out a few times. It sucks. I don't want to try to get that many views. It just can't do it. And then it rolled out to people probably have heard about this. Your profile could be monetized. So if you're just like a prolific viral poster, suddenly now you could just monetize your own posts, which I didn't get that. I guess I maybe had too many violations. I can never do that.
Well, you didn't make a good enough reel. For instance, you didn't make like ramen in the back of a toilet or something, which probably would have got the views.
Right. I just didn't have any good dances that I just reposted from TikTok, which is the funniest thing to me. I don't understand how any of this shit works because they're freaking out because TikTok is eating up so much of their market share and people are getting paid to just repost their same content from TikTok onto the Meta platforms. I don't understand how that provides any value to them, but I
It's
guess
just an upward transfer of wealth to Rick Lax.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then the last thing I'll say about it is that I actually tried to put together a special on the Succ because I feel like what's happening here is the most ruthless kind of exploitation of like freelancers type business model that they're using. And it super pisses me off because there's no transparency about any of this. They offer you up to 30 grand a month. They don't tell you how that's calculated. They just show you a number every day of how much you've earned. And then at any point, you can just catch a violation for something you posted 2 years ago, from something that's totally out of context and misunderstood by the algorithm. And then poof, your offer is off the table. Yeah, I have a few different pages that have gotten this offer, and one of them's off the table and some other ones are still on the table. And it's been impossible to figure out, like, how does this shit work? So I think if anybody's listening to this episode and is interested in something like that, like, please reach out to me because I think there's some interesting investigation to be done. I mean, I'm sure I've signed some kind of terms and conditions that I, couldn't, sue them or anything, but I would love to talk about it and and illuminate what the fuck they think they're doing because it's fucking weird.
Maybe the right move isn't to try to make the money on the Meta platforms. Maybe it's to kind of as an investigation, sign up for as many Meta money-making platforms as you can, and then make a 12 million views YouTube video about it and make your cash over there.
Yes.
Collect that Google check.
I mean, so the last thing I'll say is like, I do think the Meta platforms are really trying to fuck over creatives. It looks good on the surface, but I really think they're bending us over, and I don't have a good feeling.
It's especially what you said about how any infraction, whether it's real or manufactured, can just completely destroy. Like if you're putting all your eggs in this basket, like, and somebody decides, well, I don't like this guy, I'm going to report his posts, and then I'm going to like get a group of people to mass report this guy who, like, I don't know, makes money off of recipe videos for like cocktails or something. And then 5 years ago, he posted something, like something that could be misconstrued as something else by the algorithm. And now he loses his primary income stream. I think that's by design. It's like the same thing with at-will employment. Like the people who have money and power, they want you to be afraid of losing your livelihood at any given time immediately for no reason. Because if you're afraid of that, like, you're not trying to make your life better. You're not trying to like strive for, a better world, a better place to live. You're not trying to improve, your quality of life. You're just afraid of losing the little bit that you've gained by working your ass off.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, speaking of things changing abruptly for someone in the moment, let's talk about a story that did catch the algorithm. We took a little break over Labor Day weekend because we didn't feel like working, but
that's right.
There was something that went fairly viral, and it's a Reddit post. I thought it was from Am I the Asshole, but it's actually from, I think it stands for Today I Fucked Up.
They got so many acronyms over there. I never learned all the acronyms.
Yeah. I'm just not Reddit enough to know, so I have to guess. But most people will probably have seen this. But it's just Today I fucked up. My 20-year-old female girlfriend of 2 years told me the music that I, 25 male, play during sex is weird and a major turnoff. And then he goes into like a long-winded story about a sex playlist that he's made where he says there's one song in particular which actually happens to be my favorite, and he spells favorite with a U, so we know that this guy is British. British alert.
Oh, okay.
Explains
So
a
we know
lot.
the British have whack taste in music. Like their version of dubstep sounded like like slowed down drum and bass in like an oil barrel compared to like over here we got cool dubstep like Skrillex.
Like
so we know
Skrillex, yeah.
UK people have whack taste in music.
Very whack. I don't listen to that Code 9 bullshit. That guy has a master's degree in philosophy. I'm not interested in
You
smart
ever heard
people's music.
UK rapper Flo?
No, but I like Wiley. I like that song Dizzy with Dizzy Rascal and David Byrne from the BPA. I'm not sure if the BPA is British.
So have we all heard the song now? I feel like it's been going around a lot.
Yeah, we've all heard Seabat, right? Like it was popular because it was a meme. It was on Workaholics originally.
Oh,
there was like a scene where the Workaholics guys like were wilding out in the office, and Seabat by Hudson Mohawk was playing, which is a great song. I love it. It's
I don't
a banger.
like it. I
But
really hate it.
It's a squeaky, quirky, like funny ass song, and
We'll
I
just
just
put the drop right here.
We'll put it right here. And I have to imagine some like skinny, like 25-year-old British guy just like with his knees all pointed inward.
I
just,
don't
like,
want
trying
to
line
imagine
himself.
this.
I can't help myself.
Look, I really. And nobody has been able to figure out what this Reddit poster means by they have sex to the song, because like the rhythm or the beat or whatever.
I've seen some posts with some onomatopoeia that seemed to give a pretty good idea. That was just like plap, comma, plap, plap, comma, plap, comma, plap, plap, plap. It was. It's disturbing. I would be bothered. I would definitely be on. I would not be a fan of this sexual method. I don't know why anybody would think this is a good way to do it.
No, well, I mean, Hudson Mohawk himself, like, I think he edited his Twitter bio, so now it says, "Cry sugar is better for sex." Which is like, it's good that he's in on the
Does he
joke,
even
too.
make music still? Like,
oh yeah, he just put out a pretty good thing last year. I think it was like a bunch of like rough cuts and B-sides and shit, and it was really, really long, but I liked it. It was good. The part of this post that really killed me was when he says, "The other day we were having sex with no music, but I was still thrusting to the tune playing in my head. She recognized this and asked me to stop."
Oh God!
That's also the part where I question the veracity of the post, and I start to think this is just something funny that a guy thought of. But
no, I guarantee it. So okay, not to be cynical, not to be pessimistic, I present an alternate possibility is that this is viral marketing for this Hudson Mohawk artist.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
like,
this Lunis posted this to promote the new Tonight album coming out soon.
Well, to be fair, I've gone down this rabbit hole. Apparently, TikTok had like a whole week with it, and people found the guy on Instagram and subsequently connected all the dots and figured out who the girl was. And I guess at some point they even said that the guy had talked to her parents about his musical taste and had played this song for
what? No, I don't know. I have trouble believing that if it came from TikTok.
Yeah, that's fair. I'll try to dig up what I was reading the other day, because it's just too good. It doesn't feel believable, but it seems to be true.
There's an interesting connection that was made. Brendan Urie of Panic at the Disco in 2016, during an interview with USA Today, said that the song helped him, quote, get pumped before his shows, which leads me to believe that like there's got to be some sort of like cross-pollination marketing thing going on, because imagine if you're Hudson Mohawk right now, you're just raking in the 0.00000000001 cents per Spotify listen right now.
Yeah, well, Hudson Mohawk's like a big deal besides being just Hudson Mohawk, right? Like he started to get a lot of traction when Tim and Eric kind of discovered his whole collective, the Lucky Me collective, which was like mostly Scottish producers making like wacky, quirked up, extremely colorful, like trap and dubstep and other kind of like UK grime and shit influenced beats. And then like over the years, Hudson Mohawk has become like somebody who works on Kanye albums and shit. Like he has production credits on like albums that have gone gold and platinum. And now it does feel a little weird to see this kind of like keep cropping up. But as much as I hate Panic at the Disco, it is very funny to me to think of the Panic at the Disco guy being like, doo, 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 doo. I'm gonna make these kids so sad. Boo, 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 boo.
You know, with this going as viral as it has, the thing that has surprised me the most is that I haven't yet seen a post about how his name, Hudson Mohawk, is racist towards Native Americans. Because I feel like that would just be like of the viral cycle. Maybe it's because he's from the UK, but I feel like that of the viral cycle, it always ends with people arguing about whether or not the thing that went viral or the person who made it is somehow doing like a problematic thing. I feel like that's the cherry on top of all these like weird things.
Probably by the time this episode comes out, I'm guessing that will have started.
Yeah, probably. But I think also
prophecy.
People will want to do deep dives on Hudson Hawk, the 91 Bruce Willis vehicle, which I think they should do because I haven't seen that movie in fucking ages and it's wild as shit. It's like one of the weirdest fucking movies.
What is this movie? This looks kind of sick. I kind of want to watch this now.
Yeah, Hudson Hawk. So it's got a plot that's like based on conspiracy theories and secret societies and stuff, but it's Bruce Willis. And if you look at the cover, it's pretty tight. It's a catch the excitement, catch the adventure, catch the hawk. Bruce Willis.
He's got like circle glasses and a top hat, so he looks like the bad guy from Who Framed Roger Rabbit.
Yeah,
but it's Bruce Willis.
Oh God. This is amazing. I'm just imagining Hudson Mohawk and Kate Bush like in the same room discussing their like viral come up for the year, you know, like
that was another thing.
I was in Stranger Things and Hudson Mohawk's like, well, some weird guy was like fucking to my song.
And he picked the wrong one. I mean, it also does, it makes me feel like the cycle of cultural things speeding up is like happening way faster than I was ready to give it credit for, because like Workaholics having Seabat in an episode of their show and it going viral the first time was only like, was that a whole decade ago? It can't have been. It had to be like 7 or 8 years, right?
Oh God.
Apparently it ended up back on the Billboard Top 200. So
amazing.
So what I would like to know,
it's going to be the new Macarena.
If you can figure this out, listeners, what is higher on the Billboard Top 200? Did Seabat beat out Running Up That Hill? What is the comparative viral power of Stranger Things versus Reddit? Man,
the Seabat on that Workaholics episode was 11 years ago. I'm fucking old, you guys.
Jesus.
That's crazy.
Can anybody tell me if this is this picture I just dropped in the chat? Is this Hudson Mohawk or is this the guy who is fucking to his song? Cause
no, that's definitely Hudson Mohawk.
Okay, that's a relief.
He has such British physiognomy. He's British. You take one look.
Yeah,
dude, that guy.
You see him and you're just like
mash.
Scottish detected. Right.
Yeah, this all checks out now. I get it. It makes sense. It's just a British thing, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just when you're British, you just have no idea what sex music is. You just like you hear the Macarena and you hear Seabat and you hear Running Up That Hill and you're like, these are all sex music. How could they not be?
No, that's the thing, because like Britain used to rule the world, and the only thing that they really like they brought imperialism to every corner of the earth, but like the only things they really brought back home were like tea and like stolen statues of the Sphinx and like haunted sarcophaguses. They didn't bring back any like culturally they're kind of stagnant in a way the US is not, because in the US, if the Red Post was by an American, it would have been like some sort of insane like Knife Party remix or something like that.
Well, that's like what's fascinating about the UK is like they're culturally stagnant in maybe not a way that the US is not, but maybe in a way that the US has just recently become, right? Like, because the US was a real cultural producer until like the 90s. And now we have viral Reddit posts about fucking to the squeaky song.
Yeah. All of our culture is a rehashing of everything that came before it. Like, case in point, Stranger Things, fucking Marvel, you know?
They're all basically just Frasier. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. Yeah.
Oh man, I gotta say, I don't know that, especially to this song, but just in general, like stroking two songs is, I mean, I don't think it's a good, strategy. Maybe at certain times it works, but not as like a, go to like.
There have been times where I lived in like an apartment building where I could clearly hear other people like cooking or like yelling at each other, and I was like, well, if I'm gonna get nasty, I probably put on some music. That's probably a good idea. But I'm not like, I'm not like reaching for the for the childish Gambino Redbone whenever I'm trying to get it on.
If things are gonna get spicy, let me put on my favorite song. It's a little tune by Hechizeros band called El Sonidito. The guy plays one note like a million times in a row.
Hell yes.
It's so hot.
Stroke game on point that night for sure.
Well, speaking about trying to cover up the shit that you're getting up to, let's talk a little bit about a guy named Fat Leonard that you might have heard of before, who was apparently a very famous man who would go around throughout the Navy and procure sex parties and extremely expensive alcohol and other treats for officers to secure information and defense contracts. And he had been sentenced, or rather, he had been held for sentencing with an ankle bracelet and with literally a detail left outside his house. And now he has cut his ankle bracelet, hired a U-Haul, gotten in it, and left. And nobody knows where this guy ever went to, but multiple people have said that he's infiltrated the U.S. Navy, quote, better than the Soviets ever could, and has more access to classified military information than possibly anybody who is not actually a military officer. And it's just funny, when this came to my attention, I couldn't help but think about all of the shit that's been going on at Fort Bragg, all of the like drug pushing scandals and all of the murders and all of the shit that goes on at the various police departments around the country. And then you have quotes from guys who have been saying like Supervisory Deputy U.S. Marshal Omar Castillo, who told reporters, as of now, multiple leads are being investigated, adding that Francis's neighbors had seen a U-Haul moving truck at his house in the days before his escape, which it just seems like if the U.S. really didn't want this guy to escape, they probably would have investigated the suspicious moving trucks outside of his house.
Yeah, the article talks about how like there was a crew making, I guess there's a podcast about them, and they're talking about how they were able to smuggle a microphone to him and and that the security was just so weak. Like it definitely seems like he's probably still up to his old habits. I mean, imagining somebody was having sex parties at his expense and drinking nice champagne to help facilitate this U-Haul escape that's my takeaway.
Yeah, so he has a Singapore-based maritime ship servicing company called Glen Defense Marine Asia. And it seems like he used that position to just get in so good, because I know Singapore is very, very tight with the United States military. And it's just very funny. It seems like he's literally bribed and made so many inroads with so many people that they can't even get security to sit outside of his house all day. That it says in the article that there was a 3-hour window where they were simply gone for lunch.
Jesus.
Nonsense.
So he would frequently give these Blue Ridge officers luxury hotel cocktail parties, Michelin star dining experiences, sex workers, and $1,000 bottles of booze and cigars. To which I only have to say, I don't even know. Like
king shit.
King shit.
There are like old episodes of King of the Hill where Cotton Hill talks about being like a procurement officer and getting this kind of stuff for the other officers. And I always thought it was just like, I always thought that kind of stuff was just played up because it's like the veteran version of Schoolyard Tales, where they're like, you don't even know what these officers get up to, man. They have the craziest parties. They're hiring sex workers. They're getting this and that and the other thing and drugs. And it's just like the more I see stuff about this actually come out, the more I start to think like, I bet it's all true and more,
Yes. Yeah. I definitely think so. I mean, and this guy has got to be, he's gone, right? Like he's in another country, I'm sure, right?
Yeah.
I mean,
he's somewhere with no extradition treaty to the United States. His buddies that he gave multi-million-dollar parties and cocktails and cigars to definitely figured out a way to get him to some country that is friendly enough with the United States, but not too friendly that they could get him there and get him safe.
Which, BP listeners and Succ listeners who have found their way to this podcast, if you ever run afoul of the law, just Google countries with no extradition treaty. All right. They can't extradite you. You are free and clear unless they put a burlap sack over your head and drag you to a CIA black site. But you would have had to have really fucked up for that to happen.
Well, they'll do that to you and me, like the shit ass podcasters. But they're not going to do this to this guy who helped a bunch of their bros.
He was set.
I really respect a man who takes full advantage of a U-Haul rental. Like you ever seen those guys who posted videos of them doing donuts in the U-Haul truck, and they're like, for $19 you could rent this. That's my shit. That's extremely my shit.
I do love the getaway story in a U-Haul truck. I'm trying to imagine if it was just the car or if he had more going on, like in the U-Haul. Like was there merchandise? Was there smuggling of people? I don't know. I mean, it's my imagination goes wild, but it's just the fact that he's driving away. I'm imagining like a high-speed chase happening, which didn't because nobody gave a shit if he got away or not.
Well, he probably just waited till the day that the security guards decided to go somewhere further away for lunch. So 3 hours became 4 hours. And then he could be like, all right, all you guys come down from the base. You help me load my $16 million worth of cigars and champagne into the 3 U-Hauls. And then we're going to drive down to the Darien Gap and take a boat to Colombia.
Hell yeah. I don't know. This guy's probably a shitty person. I shouldn't celebrate him, but the story sounds pretty fun on the surface, I guess.
Yeah, well, that's the problem is this kind of getaway isn't available to you and me. Like, they'll just brown bag us. They'll just burlap sack us. It's like, you won't even make it to the Darien Gap. But this guy, he's got the stuff because he already bribed them. He's got years of bribing them already under his belt. And speaking of getting away with something, I already mentioned Minion Death Cult once on the show today, but they did also post something incredible on Twitter, which is a Facebook post, which is also Michigan themed, which I always love. And so this is Alicia Jane is with Chadwick Jalapeno Duran at Little Caesars Pizza in Kalkaska, Michigan. And I'm just going to read the whole story real quick. It says, this evening around 5:30, I called my husband and asked him if he would bring home a pizza on his way home from work. He went to Little Caesars in Kalkaska around 6:30. He ordered, paid, and they told him it would be around 20 minutes. No big deal. After waiting nearly 2 hours for our food, watching everyone else get theirs and being ignored, the wrong theirs, by the way, he received our pizzas to find this on the inside. Fuck the police. And there's a photo of a pizza box and it just says FTP.
Well, maybe he was reminding the customer to upload his files to an FTP server.
Thank you. That was my first thought when I saw this.
Yeah, like, I thought of STP and I was like, fuck Temple Pilots. Okay. It makes as much sense as the original band name. And
I love this story because who waits 20 minutes for fucking Little Caesars in the first place? It's hot and ready, or I'm out. I'm not gonna wait 20 minutes. It's just a regular pepperoni pizza.
No,
That's
but
how
he
you know
waited
this is not
2
true.
hours.
Yeah.
Well, everybody in the replies is like, yeah, your cop husband's cheating on you, like for sure. And he thought this would take the heat off him, and the fact that you posted it proves that it did.
I hadn't thought of that angle to it, but it would be like a Michigan policeman who would to get out of his wife finding out he's cheating on her, would start a sort of statewide incident at a Little Caesars.
Well, that's like the other funny thing is a bunch of Michigan people that I've seen who have seen this on various social media have pointed out like Kalkaska's a small village of like 2,000 people. So
Wow.
if you start shit like what you have to know if you work at the Little Caesars that if you write "fuck the police" on the inside of the box and hand it to one of the few local cops that you have around, like it's going to come back and bite you in the ass. And like the cops could do something about this. You don't have to post this to Facebook.
Right.
Okay. So on average, I'm looking at like the average number of police officers per capita. Like if you're a town of 2,000, you're only going to have like 6 police officers max, maybe 5, including the sheriff. Like, how is this plausible? Like everybody's got to know each other if your town's that small.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, like when I worked at the Starbucks in the waterfront in Pittsburgh, like Homestead, Munhall, and the surrounding area have a lot more than 2,000 people. And everybody still knew everybody's fucking business anyway. There was a local cop who was cheating on his wife with somebody that I worked with. And everybody in the fucking Starbucks knew about it. And he came in every damn day. Like people are messy as fuck with this shit. So this stuff doesn't really surprise
I want to say I
me.
definitely think that this theory holds up because this post has been deleted. I'm glad Minion Death Cult podcast has screenshot it because it's gone now. I remember last night we were making memes out of this and we were like, oh, the post is gone. Okay.
Well, I mean, it's just like I also love the mind of somebody who's like, I'm going to take to Facebook about this. You know, like my husband, who's a cop, who serves the community, had to wait 2 hours for a hot and ready pepperoni pie. Like
for 2 hours, you just go somewhere else, dude.
Yeah, I was going to say, I would be so much madder at my husband. Like, why didn't you go inside and ask for the fucking pizza at any point in the 2 hours? Or, you know, like none of it makes sense.
Yeah. He's just going to be receiving texts from now on that are like, you buy a pizza at the store and you bring it home. You cook it where I can see you.
Yeah, from now on, we're a DiGiorno's family.
Yeah.
The only pizza we're eating.
Well, speaking of, much like whether your Little Caesars is hot and ready, another matter of life and death. The Bed Bath and Beyond CFO, Chief Financial Officer, has apparently committed seemingly suicide, falling to his death from the Tribeca skyscraper known as the Jenga Tower this past Friday, after being accused. Okay, so in the middle of August, he sold like a quarter of his shares of Bed Bath Beyond. Then, like a week later, the SEC accused him of, or shareholders attempted to get the SEC to go after Bed Bath and Beyond for a pump and dump scheme. This is also the same pump and dump where that story was going around where like, oh, this 20-year-old made $100 million off of puts on Bed Bath and Beyond. And it turns out he had like $25 million of startup capital from his like rich dad with a Wikipedia page. But I'm just gonna say, like, no billionaire falls to their death off of a skyscraper. This motherfucker's pushed.
Well, this guy was a professional scammer, right? Like before that, he worked for Avon, which is like, Avon is just a legal multi-level marketing scheme. And Bed Bath & Beyond, have you ever been in one of those stores? They don't really sell anything that other stores don't sell. Like, why would you ever go to a Bed Bath & Beyond?
Because of the Beyond, John, obviously.
Yeah, well, that's where this guy is now.
White women be collecting Bed Bath & Beyond coupons like their Pokemon cards. I swear to God. And find like a between like 25 to 35-year-old white woman and look in her like, I don't know, filing cabinet, bedside table, anywhere she's got a drawer where she keeps like random papers, you will find a stack of Bed Bath & Beyond coupons. This is universally true.
I feel like there are plenty of people out there with better taste who have like Ulta gift cards. Something like that.
I simply go there for the Beyond. I mean, there's a special section of the store you can go in. There's a black curtain. You go back there. There's all kinds of wonders and weird shit, and you just can't get it anywhere else. I'm telling you, it's a game changer. But not everybody knows about that part of the store because everybody's ordering from Amazon these days.
Yeah.
You know.
Well,
The
and
way to
Beyond,
reach the Beyond is by throwing yourself off of a skyscraper.
yeah. Well, it's hidden, so a lot of people get frustrated when they can't find it. This guy was probably like, man, I've worked for this company for so long and they have never told me where the Beyond is. I'll find it at the bottom of the Jenga tower. Also, why is the building that the office is in called the Jenga Tower?
I think it's very literal.
Does it
Have you
literally
seen it?
look like? No, I don't. I don't live in New York.
Oh God, I just
Yeah, it
googled it.
looks
Yeah,
like a
it's designed
Jenga
to
tower.
look like Jenga. Oh,
But
this sucks.
Okay, but also it doesn't fucking look like Jenga because Jenga would be architecturally uninteresting because it's just a bunch of slabs that are all uniform.
Well, this is we're deeper into the game, I guess you would have to say. So,
You know what
Sure.
this looks like? It looks like that the textures on this building haven't fully loaded. They haven't fully rendered.
Yes, it's slightly outside of your view radius. Yeah.
I hate this. It's like it's also one of those buildings in New York where like half the apartments are empty because they're just owned by like foreign investors who hold them as, a hedge against their global currency failing.
Yeah. Well, it looks like a half-eaten cob of corn.
New York girls make do.
oh wow,
it's on
This
the
building
Hudson River.
is
Another
ribbed
Hudson
for
detected.
ribbed for none of our pleasure. I hate this building. It looks like
I had
shit.
to go to the Wikipedia page, and I love how the history of it is only 3 paragraphs, one of which is now about the Bed Bath and Beyond executive.
Yeah, he's getting the most words in the whole history section.
That's fucked up, guy. Come on.
I mean, people love that. They're like, pretty soon there's going to be a true crime podcast set in 56 Leonard Street, aka the Jenga Tower. Venezuelan businessman Gustavo Arnal leapt to his death, or was he pushed?
Wait, was he Venezuelan?
Yeah, that's what it says
What?
on Wikipedia anyway.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know why? Well, you know why he's in the United States and not in Venezuela.
Probably because the CIA figured out that he was
Mhm.
part of the comprador bourgeoisie, and they were like, "Hey,
Mhm.
why don't you move here and be part of the domestic bourgeoisie?"
Yeah, he's a Gusano.
It happens all the time. We did it with a bunch of Nazis. Why wouldn't we do it with capitalist Venezuelans?
Right before the show started, there was this one other story, but I don't know how much time you have left, but I would love to discuss the Norwegian Tesla owners
Yes.
that went on hunger strike.
Did they set themselves on fire yet?
No.
They should.
Yeah, it's still early.
They're not that committed. That's the thing, is they only went on
Mhm.
strike for like 2 or 3 days. I think it was like a 48-hour hunger strike. And they also arranged their Teslas in the shape of the word help and then took a photo of it with a drone and posted it. And if you watch the video, it's just a bunch of Norwegian dudes like, Norway is a very big market for Tesla. They sell a lot of cars here. And I think, these are not big problems. They could be easily fixed. And it's like, I don't know, man. Does it really necessitate you not eating for 2 days? I feel like you should just buy a different EV.
Yeah, I love the idea that they thought that Elon Musk was going to see the help from his satellites. At one point, some little kid says that.
Yeah.
Like as if that's all it was going to take to get their cars fixed, was just spelling out a word for his Starlink or whatever. I don't know what the satellites are.
I don't
But
understand people that do a hunger strike for against injustice. Why wouldn't you, instead of doing a hunger strike against injustice, how about calling it an airstrike against injustice?
Well, it's also like a hunger strike is something you would normally do against like your government or the police
Mhm.
or something. It doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to do it against private corporations because then you're imagining that private corporations give a single solitary shit about what happens to their customers once they've bought the product.
Actually, I was forgetting something. This is actually more plausible than I'd like to admit because I often go on hunger strike when my truck won't start.
I really wanted to talk about this because it reminded me of a story from, I think, a couple of years ago now, how Netflix had this show called The OA, and it was canceled because it's a god awful, stupid, terrible fucking show. And I'm going to spoil it for anybody listening, and I don't care because it sucks and you shouldn't watch it. And I hope I put somebody off when I said that, because if you like it, that's a terrible, it's bad opinions.
It reflects poorly on your character if you like that show.
Yeah, you
take
need
that,
to work
asshole.
on it.
I've never seen it, and I agree with you completely.
So the Netflix was the people that made the OA, and they canceled it, and the fans of the show were so invested that they went down to Netflix headquarters to stage a hunger strike in a protest.
Not
And
just
I
a
got
hunger
this-
strike, but at Netflix. You're like, we're going to go down there and be hungry in front of the building.
I got so much enjoyment out of watching that, because what the fuck is wrong with people, man?
Are you
Like,
sure that maybe they just got so used to sitting down to eat dinner and watch their favorite TV show that they couldn't eat without their favorite TV show?
literally,
Well,
yeah.
it's also so funny because, like, did they get the show back? Like, they
No.
didn't, right? No, that never works. But you know what does work? Relentless cyberbullying. That's what
Mhm.
fixed the
Yes.
Sonic
Mhm.
design.
But you can still eat while you do that. You don't have to go anywhere. Just
In
sit
fact,
your-
you should probably carbo load a little bit. You know,
Yeah,
you're going to be
takes a lot of
shouting and
energy.
pounding your keyboard quite a bit. So,
Yeah.
But yeah, I did want to spoil that the end of the story was that so this woman, the main character, travels through dimensions, and she wakes up in she breaks the fourth wall and wakes up in as the actress in the show.
Oh,
And
it
I
sucks
just think
so much.
yeah, the show already sucked for a lot of
So
reasons before
lazy.
that. But it's the shittiest plot I could think of. The show was so fucking bad that not only was I happy that it was canceled, I was actually happy that some of the fans were suffering as a result.
Hell yeah.
you deserve this because you fell
Yes.
fell for a show where the hook of the whole show was, what if actresses were real?
Well, I don't know. Like so like another thing about this show is that the only reason it got popular, I think, to the mainstream that didn't watch it, is that the characters do these like stupid dances. They're really bad.
Mm.
I can't emulate them, but these dances were the way that they were supposed to open a portal to another dimension. And and so the first season ends with a school shooting of all things. And
What?
yeah, and they do the fucking dance. That's how they stop the shooter. They just distract him by doing these ridiculous dance. They thought they were going to open a portal, but no, they just spooked the school shooter, and he got. I think he got killed or something. But then, so you're thinking, okay, this show surely won't have another season, but it does. And when it comes back, you're thinking, well, maybe I won't have to see these stupid dances because that whole plot point is over. But no, they double down and they make fucking robots that do the dances for them to open up the portals to the other dimension. I hate watched the show. I don't know what's wrong with me. I'm going to go on hunger strike to have it deleted from memory banks.
Yeah. That sounds like absolute dreck. Like, not even something that's like so bad it's good. Like, I always tell people to watch Lex, like seasons 2 and 3 especially. Like, it's so bad it's good. But then there are things that are just like so bad it's bad, I guess.
Yeah, and the amount of money spent on this show could have easily fixed those Norwegian Teslas. I'll tell you that much.
Yeah.
So I'm sending love and and my best to the Tesla owners. I hope they get their back door or whatever to open.
Yeah.
they-
My door
It-
won't open, and then it opens on its own, and then it won't start in the cold, and it won't start in the heat. It only starts when it's exactly 69 degrees Fahrenheit, which it never is in Norway.
Speaking of electric cars, before we close out, I have often said on this show that electric cars are a scam. They just shift the fossil fuel usage and emissions and make you completely dependent on a grid. And also, they're horrific for the environment in a way that, long term will wreak havoc. The entire state of California announced by, I think, 2025 or 2030, there's going to be no gas cars sold in California, which California's a huge market. It's like if it were a country, it would be like in the top 5 markets for a lot of products, which means that like that's going to cause a domino effect where a lot of car manufacturers switch to only electric or, whatever, maybe hydrogen. I don't know.
And meanwhile, half of the electrical grids in the United States are failing.
Yes.
Especially in the Midwest and the South.
catching on fire.
California
Yeah.
also 1 week later announces rolling blackouts and asks its citizens not to charge their electric cars. This is coming just a few months after Transportation Secretary Pete Buttigieg said, if you're mad about the price of gas, just buy an electric car. It's like they don't care about you. They have absolute contempt for you, and their technocratic solutions are fake and they suck, and you should hate these people.
That's right. Well, as long as we have finally determined the root cause of the collapse of the United States, and it's our electrical grid is going to fail on us because we can't stop plugging in our luxurious Teslas that won't open in the cold. Phil, thank you so much for coming on the show. Do you want to let people who are listening know where they can find you besides just listening to the Succ, which I'm sure they have all already subscribed to?
The Succ is going to be my next show. It's corn related.
I
That
like
one's coming
that.
out. But thank you so much for having me on the show. I'm a huge fan. I've listened to the BP Lettuce for a long time, and at one point I listened to all your backlogs of your episodes to the point that y'all are my internal dialogue for a while.
God.
I was like, okay, I have to stop. I need to end and take a break. So I did, but I just want to say thanks for having me on the show because it's super cool, a big honor for me. But yeah, everyone out there, check out the Succ. It's a fun podcast. If you're waiting in between episodes and bonus episodes, we can definitely fill that gap for you. Just thesucc.me is our website.
Oh, nice. It's a .me
and
domain.
it has a link tree so you can listen wherever you like, and we have a Patreon and bonus episodes and all that good stuff.
Hell yeah.
So thanks for having me, y'all.
Check out the Succ. Check out Phil's old projects, Chill Neil and Juicy Mane. Some fucking bomb tracks on that record. Yeah, thanks so much for coming on the show. It's really, I'm surprised it didn't happen sooner.
It's my pleasure. Like I say, it's truly like an honor. I never thought I'd be on the show, but kind of got desperate. I was like, I got to get the show out there somehow. See if these BB Lettuce folks will come let me slum on their show for a little while.
Hell yeah. Anytime. We'll have you back eventually as well. And as soon as my bedtime isn't quite so early, I'd love to come onto the Succ.
Yeah, the invite is always out. Both of y'all have been invited to the show, and I understand it. The time we couldn't make it work, but it's always stands. And yeah, let me know. You're welcome to come on.
Hell yeah.
All right. Well, that's been your beep beep for the week. Thank you so much for listening. You can listen to my other show, Work Stoppage. You can check out Bryn's other show, Generation Loss, and you can check out Todd's shop online, doomer.shop. And with that, we love you. Stay high. Goodbye.
Beep on, y'all.
Hey, Phil. Hey, Phil.
What?
Hey, Phil. What's up, man? What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man?
What's up, man? When I wake up in the morning, I say, what's up, man? When I show up at my job, I say, what's up, man? When I'm picking up my phone, I say, what's up, man? When you waiting for a text back, it's like, what's up, man? When I go to get my mail, it's like, what's up, man? When I'm waving at my neighbor, I say, what's up, man? When I write a letter to my mom, it's what's up, man? When I reply to a job, I be what's up, man? I'm about to do an interview, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? I'm about to see your grandma too, I say, yo, what's up, man? I shake your grandpa's hand, I'm like, yo, what's up, man? I went to the bathroom, saw the toilet, I'm like, what's up, man? I went to your house, I saw your cat, I say, yo, what's up, man? I pet your dog up on his belly, I say, what's up, man? I'm finna touch her body, then I tell her, what's up, man? I'm finna lay this girl out, then I tell her, what's up, man? 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 Yeah, what's up, man? 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 What's up,